Recording in progress. Recording in progress. Recording in progress. Recording in progress. So when I was doing my acting training, they teach you the jaw movement, the tongue, and the position of the mouth when you speak. So when a lot of American people talk, you can see their teeth a lot. When the English talk, we talk kind of like that. Yeah, so I will do updates on my acting training and what I used to get taught by Nina Finberg. Oh my God, so many great acting trainers, tutors, teachers. Yeah, so, and I remember Nina Finberg told me when I went to the Actors Centre in Soho, she said, "Oh, Rachel, if they want a Scottish actor, they will hire a Scottish actor." So I received pronunciation when I trained in media. One of my first jobs was as a court reporter on George Michael's court case fight against Sony Music. I will tell you story time. So I was in my 20s catching up on exams. Because of my high school dyslexia, I failed all my exams. So then I worked a job, I worked another job, then I went to evening study, passed GCSEs and A-levels. So I was about 3 years behind my high school contemporaries. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so I then wanted to be a barrister. I had delusions of grandeur, darling. Yes. I wanted to be a contract barrister, but it was the dyslexia numerically that smashed it. I dropped out at 6 months and said to my course tutor, Nina Scott, Nina, Mrs. Well, I can't remember. So long ago, I can't remember. I said, I can't do the numbers. There's no way I'm going to be a lawyer. Forget it. I'm terrified of numbers. I have a dyscalculia. Anyway, and imposter syndrome, where you feel like you're going to be found out because you're hopeless at numbers. And I can't even hardly add up, literally can't remember numbers. I get a white blank page. So it's a high visual spatial numerical dyslexia called a dyscalculia. So I gave it up and I thought, I was licking my wounds as a student, working a job. And I thought, you know what? I've given up on my dream to be a contract barrister in the High Courts of London. London. Okay. And so I was reading the Financial Times, and fast forward, I went to the High Court because I thought, oh my God, I want to study contract barristers in action. So you go to the High Court to study. And a lot of law students go to the Houses of Parliament to watch the politicians because a lot of them are trained, believe it or not. And so I went there. I literally dressed like a boy. Now, I then was a law student and I was approached by Music Week Paul Gorman. Oh my God, he probably hates my guts. I'm just saying, bless him, he's a lovely person. But I used to drink in my 20s and I used to drunk call him by accident, and lots of people when I was in Italy because I was so lonely and depressed. But that's when I used to drink in my 20s. I was demonic whenever I used to drink. So it doesn't agree with me because my dad was an alcoholic. And I believe that as a child as a baby in my mum's womb, I'm convinced that I have toxicity to alcohol. And my doctor did tell me, look, people like you can't drink because I've got an addictive personality, number one. And number two, it's toxic. It makes me feel physically violently ill. And it changes my personality, makes me a demon. Oh, anyway, so there I am wearing a boy's cap, boy's suit, tie, walking cane, no makeup, short brown hair. I was a very asexual tomboy, questioning my gender, not sexuality, gender in those days. So I was in the High Court. George Michael had not come out as gay then. And he looked at me and went. And when I was in the court, I was there for 8 months and I got up close and personal in the courtroom on a professional level. I didn't know George Michael as a friend, but when you're that close working with the team, his legal team, as a reporter, which I was for a Music Week magazine, me and this other guy were writing stories Paul Gorman, and he was writing the headlines and I was helping him write it right up until the judgment. So we were getting to see George Michael at close quarters, you know. And anyway, so in those days, it was very difficult for me because I had to see things and learn on the job before I could study an exam because of my dyslexia. So yeah, in those days, it was really cool that I actually was wearing men's suits. I questioned my gender. I felt like a boy in a female body. And to this day, I still do. And, you know, the press have reported on that because now it's so open. But back then, people didn't have what they've got in the 90s. This is in the 1990s, but back then, the internet wasn't even around hardly. We just had mobile phones like bricks. You know, I'm a bit of a dinosaur, darling. Oh, yes. Anyway, so, and this is where my dyslexia gets in the way. I completely forgotten my point. Court, law, barrister. Can't remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the story time was how I got to meet George Michael and work closely in a courtroom environment for 8 months and see him like no member of the public gets to see him, but he was just like a regular guy, like an accountant, geeky, you know. But I remember that that was meant to be, and that was the first time that I worked in the media. So that's the point. My media training came about by accident when I was a failed law student dropout from a law college in London. And then I decided the media was something I wanted to be in, and I was literally writing as a published writer, but I was called a stringer. And then that's a freelance writer when you're not tied to a magazine or a news outlet. And then on that court case, a Reuters correspondent called Kat Callow approached me and gave me her business card. She later was the vice president of the world's top news agency, Reuters, and she trained me. She trained me on the job to be a court reporter on a criminal fraud trial called the Robert Maxwell fraud trial. It was the Maxwell fraud trial about the pension funds that have been appropriated illegally, but they were not guilty. Just saying, it was alleged that it was a fraud, but they were found not guilty, the 2 Maxwell sons. And of course, I got to see that world up and close and personal. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot in my life, you know. A bit of a noise there. But what I want to say is this. In life, never give up on your dreams. Find an alternative path and give it loads. I've got to get in a hot bath now. So I think that was my heating making a noise because it's cold today. I've just put the heat on. It goes clunk, clunk, clunk. So yeah, that was the point. Never give up on your dreams. And always, if life throws you a curveball, follow it because it'll lead to something bigger and better. Yes. Peace, Barbie, love and hugs. See you soon, guys. I'm going to have a hot bath now.